Okay. I believe you should be able to hear my voice. If not, I'll record a voiceover. I'm expecting this to be a short stream, but as you can see from what I've got pulled up here, today is the first day of the Advent of Code Challenge, which I guess is an annual thing that happens. It's like an advent calendar for a coding problem. Yeah, so I'm just gonna try to tackle the first one live, and we'll see how it goes. I will need to log in. I'm just gonna narrate my thought process as I go to solve stuff, and hopefully I don't show any private information. This is new for me. Sure. Okay. Looks like I'm logged in. Here's the first problem. I did read this problem at work, but there was like 5 minutes left before I could clock out, so I read over the problem, but I'll read over it again now. Santa's reindeer typically eat regular reindeer food, but they need a lot of magical energy to deliver presents on Christmas. For that, their favorite snack is a special type of star fruit, blah 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 blah. Supply enough, need to retrieve. I think this is just introducing the advent. Okay. Collect stars by solving puzzles. Two puzzles. Okay, so there's two per day. Each puzzle grants a star. I'm only promising to solve the first one, but if it's really easy, I might try the second one. The jungle must be too overgrown and difficult to navigate in vehicles or access. Okay. Elves begin taking inventory of their supplies. One important consideration is food. In particular, the number of calories. This is important. Number of calories. The elves take turns writing down the number of calories contained. One item per line. Each elf separates their own inventory from the previous elf's inventory by a blank line. Okay. So we're going to be reading this long text file, and whenever we see a blank line, then we know that's a new elf's entry, or it's the end of the file. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Elf 1 has this, Elf 2 has that, Elf 3, Elf 4, and Elf 5. First elf carrying total of 6,000, carrying 4,000, carrying a total of 11,000, carrying a total of 24,000, carrying a total of 10,000. Which elf is carrying the most calories? Okay. Okay, so the problem is given a list of numbers in a specified format, calculate the maximum sum and return that. All right, that's fair enough. Get your input. Uh, okay, I guess I copy this? Can I just request it? Okay, yeah, I guess not. Okay. So can I download it or do I have to copy paste, I guess? Okay, so I'm gonna make a Git repo for this. I'm gonna go into my developer folder. Sorry. Um, I'll make a new directory in here. Make directory advent of code. Okay, cd. This is day one. I'm gonna make a directory for day one. All right, let's get in it in here. So I'm gonna have one Git repository for the whole deal, the whole Advent challenge. Okay, make dir day one. Alright, let's do O1. CD day O1, touch. input.txt, vim input.txt, and I'm just gonna paste this into my file here. It's quite a lot of elves. Quite a lot of elves, okay. Now, if you don't know, here's how you exit Vim, :WQ. That's write and quit, so save and quit. Alright, so let's see what we've got here. So just to show you what I've done here, we're print working directory. We're inside my new Advent of Code folder. It's a Git repository. In here, I have a day one directory with an input.txt file, which I just took from here. I guess the inputs vary by user, and we're literally just submitting the answer. Interesting. It's not like LeetCode where you submit your code. I guess that makes sense. It's probably easier. You don't have to have like a, because you could use whatever language you want. Okay, so let's cd into my day one. Let's create a file, touch calorie counter, or yeah, calorie counter.py. We'll call it that. That's fine. Okay. Oops. Advent code. And this is just going to open it up in my Visual Studio Code. Hopefully. Okay, it's over here in my other window, but I'll move it over. Bop, bop, bop. And I think I can do that. Okay. All right. Let's give a little space here. Alrighty. So this is a pretty straightforward, entry level, easy level LeetCode problem. Obviously the solution is going to be, well, so the straightforward solution is just run through the file, keep track of the biggest one. So let's do that first, and if I can think of an optimization or anything, then I'll do that then. But first, let's just do it the easy way. Alright, so step one, once we're loaded up here. I guess it's slower because I'm running Streamlabs too, so I won't hate too much. And my battery's really struggling. It was half whenever I started. I had to reinstall Streamlabs, I had to do all kinds of stuff. Can I type yet? Let me do it. Okay. So first, I'm gonna make sure that I can access this input. So I'm gonna say with open input.txt as f dot read lines. So that should open up my input.txt file, read the lines, whole file equals f.read.lines. So let's just print the first part of that. Print like the first 10 lines. 10 or 11, I forget. Okay, save and run. Any issues? Yes. No such file or directory, input.txt. Do I have to do dot slash? Let's try it again. No such file, dot slash input.txt. Okay, I'm a little baffled by that. I haven't really worked much with files lately. With open. Huh. Where am I then? Import OS. Print OS dot. Or I guess I need to do. I think that's valid. Let's try it. Hmm. Golly, what is going on? Character. Okay, dot. Okay. So that's a string. Okay, just the dot is what's printing. Maybe it's just dot input dot text. Let's try that. File not found error. Input dot txt. It's right here, eh? Input dot txt. Hmm. Okay, let's do the old read file in Python. Oh, silly. Okay, still not finding it. Um, so I can also copy the complete path, the absolute path. Okay. So I don't, maybe I'll figure out why that wasn't working before, but it's working now with the absolute. Cause they're both in the same directory, right? So it should be relative, it should just be right next to it, but I don't know. The absolute path works as f dot read lines. We've got a list of strings in here. Got a list of strings in here stored in whole file. So really, I can probably do this all inside the open context manager, inside this indented block. Um, or I can just work with the list of strings. I'm inclined to just work with the list of strings. So let's look at our input. What does it look like whenever I find a new one? So 8228. Okay, so in this list of strings, we are getting only a new line character whenever there's a line break. So to parse this input, let's say um, whenever we see just a new line, we want to break. So instead of doing read lines, we'll say I want to iterate through each line. For line in f dot read lines. So this is going to iterate through this same list of strings that we just saw. If line is exactly equal to new line character, we know it's a new elf. Okay, so um, so in that case, stop summing and check against maximum. So let's say current max equals 0. That's a good initial value because anything can be greater than 0. Let's do the normal logic, right? So if we're reading through this file, number, 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 where it's probably getting read in as a string though, so we're gonna need to convert it. Looks like they're all ints, there's no decimals. So let's say else line, just so it's not mad. Pass is just a keyword that's gonna let it say it's fine that there's nothing here. Line dot replace new line I don't really need to replace it. I can honestly just say what I want to do is strip the new line. So the number, right? So num equals line dot split. Split it there. So I think this should give me an array. That will be first element number, second element nothing, right? Well, let's just see what happens, right? So print num. I'm gonna throw a breakpoint in here and I'm gonna debug it. I sometimes have trouble with VS Code debugger. Okay, but this seems fine. So num is currently, yeah, it's the string value and then an empty array. So I don't need this anymore. I only want to grab that first part because that's the number. And we can turn it into a string or an int. This is a lot happening on one line, but it's getting parsed. It's turning into a number, all right? So let's confirm that. Now num should only hold an integer value with the number we're looking at. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So at the beginning, we're gonna say elf calories equals 0. Oh, no, no, no. Because we don't want to reset it at for each line. Okay, so this is a little weird because we're iterating through the file. We're seeing a number. If we see just a new line, say elf calories equals, right here, look at this, a cute little Python moment. Elf calories equals current max equals 0. So that's initializing both of my calories and my current max to 0. Okay. So elf calories should equal the sum of the current elf. So we want that to reset each time we see a new line, right? So elf calories equals 0. So that'll reset. So otherwise we've got our num. Let's rename this to calories. Let's call it item calories. Okay. So this is guaranteed to be a number. We're happy with that. Now we have that number, we want to add it to our total. Elf calories plus equals item calories. And that's fine. Move on along. Now so we've got our 1, 2, 3. Okay, we've got our total of 6. Now it's a new line. Reset those calories. No. First, current max equals the max. It's a built-in function of current max and of calories. Okay. So this one line is going to check the value of these two variables, my current maximum, which starts out at 0, and then compares it to the most recent ELF, the one we're currently looking at, and it's gonna make sure that the larger one is stored in curmax. Okay, then it's gonna reset the ELF calories. Okay. So then, yeah, looks good to me. Edge case though, what happens? I want to look at the very end of the file. Does the very end of the file have a new line, or does it just end? It has a new line. Okay, perfect. Because I was gonna say the issue could be if the very last one doesn't have a new line, then it won't be considered for the maximum. All right. I think this is a valid solution. We don't need this anymore. I'm still perplexed by that whole file kerfuffle at the beginning. I don't know why only the absolute path worked. Okay. So I think current max, I should still have access to that variable out here. Print current max. At the end, I'm just expecting to see an integer. Hopefully it's fine. Let's just run it. Okay, we have a number here, 68802. 68,802. How does that compare? That's not anywhere in there. Okay. That seems like a reasonable answer to me. Alright, I'm seeing a lot of these that would be smaller. Seems like the big ones are in the tens of thousands, so this is adding up. Yeah. And it seems like there's no efficiency points or anything. But is there a way to do this more efficiently than big O of n? Because big O of n, when I say that, I just mean for every line in this file, we have to do an operation, right? For every elf who's made an entry in this inventory, we have to do an operation on that. There's not like there's no shortcuts being taken, right? It's sort of an honest algorithm. And I don't want an honest algorithm. I want one that's sneaky and fast and still works. But okay. Well, so let's see. Does it tell me if this is wrong? And is there any, I don't think there's any syntactical errors. So let's double check for logical errors. For line in file, if the line is purely, it's only, it's exactly equal to the new line character, we know it's a new elf. Stop summing and check against the maximum. Current max gets an update. Reset the calories. Else, item calories is equal to that. Add that to our elf calories. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Okay. Let's see what happens when we paste our input in here. 68802. That's the right answer, baby. Okay. Since that was straightforward, let's continue on to part 2. By the time you calculate the answer to the elf's question, they already realize that the elf carrying the most calories might eventually run out of snacks. To avoid this unacceptable situation, they would like to know the total calories carried by the top 3 elves carrying the most calories. That way, even if one of those elves runs out of snacks, they still have 2 backups. Okay. Um, so let's put all this into a function. Let's say def uh, most uh, elf most. I want to say like most calories for a single elf, or elf with most calories, or most elf carrying most. Or let's just say heaviest elf. Okay, put all that in there. And then, so it's in a function now, right? So if I just call, um, let me make it return our current max. And then if I just printed that, I should get the same output that I did before. What is a hotkey to run? Because I kind of don't like clicking every time. All right, so that's fine. Def top 3 heaviest elves. All right, so how can we do this? So let's say first, second, third, or that's not right. First, equals second, equals third, equals 0. Okay. So we've got our top 3 elves. Top 3 elves equals first, second. I don't know if this is going to be helpful. I'm just sort of writing stuff right now, okay? So we're going to open our file again. So if we're doing a top 3, I think the easiest way to do it is going to be compare it to the third first, and if it's smaller than the third, move right along. And the only additional thing we need to remember is if we compare it to the second and we want to replace the second, well, I mean, really, no, it does matter. That is a little tricky, actually, because what I was thinking was if we replace the second, then we need to move the second down to be the new third, right? And then after that, I was thinking, well, does it even matter what order we keep them in as we go? Like, do we have to maintain the order? Or, and I think we should maintain the order because if we don't maintain the order, then every time we get a new elf total, we're gonna have to check it against all three. Versus if we maintain the order of the top three and make sure that they're always third, second, first, ascending, then we only have to check the third, and then we know what to do whenever there's a replacement on the second, right? Oh no, because then if yeah, no, because we're always gonna check the third first. I was thinking if we compare it against the second, we're like, oh shit, um, that one is bigger. Then what if I don't know. I think I've got it in my brain, even if I can't communicate it right now. Let's see. Okay, so we're gonna be able to reuse most of this. That's because it's the same file. Our elves are still doing their thing. However, this is where things are gonna get different, right? Okay. So instead of current max, also this should be different order. Actually, don't even care. I don't think we need that. Third is less than second. So less than or equal to first. Okay. That's the hierarchy. So instead of a current max, what do we need? We need to maintain the top three. Right, so if line is equal to n, then where did I instantiate elf calories? Okay. Elf calories equals 0. Line is equal to n, check against third, and move on if less than. So if elf calories is greater than or equal to third, in that case, we want to check either replace third or so replace third if not greater than second if new value if elf calories less than or equal to second, third equals elf calories. Right? This is gonna be nasty, but I'm gonna write this nasty if elif chain, and maybe I'll be able to clean it up. Okay. Else elif elf calories. So let's keep it consistent just for my brain's sake. So let's say let's let's do guard clauses instead. Okay, so if elf calories is less than or equal to third, then continue. Do whatever we need to do to reset. Whatever we need for proper reset, right? So if we make it here, then we know that we're greater than our third. So if elf calories less than or equal to second, in this case, we were greater than the previous third value, but we're not enough to dethrone our second, right? So replace third and proper reset. Third equals elf cows, right? And I'll probably just throw continues in here just so that it's nice and right. So then, so whatever we need for proper reset, that's going to be we want our elf calories to go back to 0. And we want our first, second, and third. What else did we do? I mean, that's really all we need, eh? Because we're doing the checking here. There's no replacement here. Third equals elf calories. Um, elf calories 0. And if we do continue, that should move on to the next line. Smaller than small than third largest. Smaller than second largest. Smaller than largest. Low battery. Let me plug this in real quick. Oh. Oh, I see that I've moved my charger. Hopefully this is plugged in. Might not be. It is. Perfect. Alright. We got power. 12 calories less than her. This rug, bro. Having an office chair on a rug is maybe the most frustrating experience whenever the rug isn't properly set up, and I haven't figured out how to properly set it up. If it's less than or equal to first, second equals elf calories, and this is the tricky part. Third, oh ho, gotta do this first. Third equals second, and second equals elf calories, right? Because we've already established that this one's bigger than the third and the second. And the second, by definition, already bigger than the third, right? Um, the reason why I'm frozen here for a second is I'm thinking, how am I going to initialize these values actually? Because the first three might be out of order. Maybe I just like forcibly sort them after I see the first three lines. That's kind of weird though. I don't like that. We'll see what happens. But this will work for like the middle cases, right? New largest. third equals second. Second equals first. First equals ELF calories. And maybe I can get rid of all these continues to just do an ELF, right? Say pass ELF. I don't know what I'm doing here. Da, da, da. Okay, and then in all cases, we're gonna reset ELF calories to 0. Right, so let's do a quick review. We've completed analyzing our very first ELF, all right? Is it less than or equal to 0? Move on. Is it less than or equal to 0, but the other 0? Um, see, how do I... So, I think this will actually work fine, right? They're all gonna be 0. So let's say my first ELF has 1,000 calories, the first in the list, right? Got 1,000 calories. Is it less than or equal to 0? Uh, no, it's not. Is it less than or equal to 0? Uh, no, it's not. Is it less than or equal to 0? No, it's not. Else, third equals 0, second equals 0, first equals this. Okay, now our next one has 2,000, right? It's going to be larger. Less than 0? Nope. Nope. Actually, nope. But it's going to go ahead and cascade on down, right? We're going to move our first value into the second. I think this will be fine. I think this will be fine, right? So first, second, and third all initialized to 0. Calories is our local counting summing variable. We're iterating through all the lines. In the case that there's a new ELF, that's where we're doing all our logic. And yeah, we need to exactly copy this. This is our parsing. This is us actually, missed an E there. This is the same. We're reading the same list. We're adding to the, and honestly, this is a extra variable that I don't need. So, right? That's Pythonic, baby. Add it up. Otherwise, do this complicated logic. And at the end, we're going to return first, second. All right, let's just do return. Let's print first, second, second, third, return sum first, second, third. One thing about my VS Code setup is it's never it's never doing what I want it to do. Like, I need to put some time into it because I want it to run black. That's another issue, okay? So let's try Print top 3. Alright. Any errors? Some takes at most. Okay, well, whatever. Six, 8, 8, 6, 8, 7, 6, 7, 8. That adds up. And our sum here is what they're looking for. Last time I hemmed and hawed, let's just submit it. Submit it. Okay, let's share this on LinkedIn. Oh! Twitter and Mastodon. Okay, we'll do it on Twitter. I should have been committing. Okay. Git status. Git add. Git commit dash m. Complete correct solution implemented. Oh, it doesn't. Okay, I did something weird there. I guess it doesn't like the exclamation. Okay. Oh, and honestly, the whole let's try to figure out what's going on here, eh? Can we do day 1 input.text r? Does that work? Okay, that worked. But does the dot work? Cause I guess dot would be looking for a. Does just that work? No. Okay. Don't ask me why, but probably if ask somebody and if they tell you, let me know. Let me just make sure they both work. Okay. Git commit dash a dash m. Update file pass to be relative. And I really want to run my black formatter on this. Poetry, run black, day 1. Okay, yeah, that's understandable. There should be a black extension that way. Format, options. Configure, black. Come on. I don't have black. I guess I've been using poetry, right? Okay. Stay tuned for actually set up VS Code for Python. Okay. Now can I do it? Black. Alrighty. There we go. Did I change anything even? Formatted with black. Okay. I just completed calorie counting day 1, advent of code. check out my GitHub if you are interested in the solution. I don't usually tweet, so it's a little wacky. All right, well, cool. I streamed that because I figured it would be cool. Maybe I'll cut it up, uh, or maybe I won't. I don't know. But I will probably be trying to do this every day, just 'cause. And I assume they're gonna take longer than this one. I assume they're gonna get progressively harder. So stay tuned.